Hello. Hello.
ഹലോ.
സാർ
ആ ആ ആ
നമുക്കൊരു 1 മിനിറ്റ് കൂടെ കഴിഞ്ഞ് തുടങ്ങാം.
ശരി. അനൗസവ കയറിയോ?
ഇല്ല, കയറിയിട്ടില്ല.
കയറിയിട്ടുണ്ടോ?
കയറിയിട്ടില്ല.
കയറാമെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞായിരുന്നു.
കയറിയിട്ടില്ലേ?
ആ
Hello. Welcome to the second day of the international seminar organized by Dr. Sudh Kumar Library and Research Center, Karakulam Gramina Padana Kendram and FSCT organizations. I invite our director, Dr. K.T. Srilata Kumari, to welcome speech for this seminar.
Good evening, everyone. Today, the second day of the international seminar series titled Reimagining Decentralization in Kerala, Local Governance for a Sustainable Future. Today's theme is Social Justice, a Right-Based Approach on Local Governance. Today's programs includes a background note presentation and response from eminent speakers. Today, the background Dr. U.P. Anil Kumar, Associate Professor from Gulati Institute of Finance and Taxation, is presenting the background note. I welcome you, sir, in the seminar. Then, Sri R. Subramaniam IAS, former Secretary, Ministry of Social Justice, Government of India, has 37 years of experience in the field of rural development, tribal development, and poverty alleviation. He has also involved in the redesigning of MGNREG's program and introducing the IT tools in the government sector to improve the outcome. So, sir, I extend our warm welcome on behalf of the organizing committee. Professor P. Shivanandam, as a professor and now an honorary fellow, the Center for Development Studies. I warm welcome you, sir, to the seminar. Dr. K. Vijaykumar, former Professor of Community Medicine, Government Medical College, and the Secretary of in the Health Action by People organization. I would like to extend my warm welcome you, sir, in the seminar. Now, Sri Chandra Babu, Executive Director of National Institute of Physical Medicine and Rehabilitation, is also attending the meeting. I extend my warm welcome you, sir. I welcome Sri K. Shivakumar, Vice Chairman of this library, to the seminar. And I would like to extend our warm welcome to all the participants who have joined in the seminar. Once again, I welcome you all. Thank you. Now, I invite Sri K. Shivakumar to moderate this day's seminar.
കേൾക്കാമോ? ഹലോ
കേൾക്കാം.
യെസ്, ആനോത്സവം ഉണ്ടോ ഈ ഇത് സെമിനാർ? ആനോത്സവം ജോയിൻ ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ടോ? Respected dignitaries and friends, this is the second day of the international seminar being organized by Dr. Sudhkumar Library and Research Center. And we are having an organizing committee headed by Sri Anna Nagapan and Sri M.V. Shashidharan of General Secretary of FSCTO. And this seminar has 10 sessions. After having these 10 online seminars, we are planning to have a physical seminar or by inviting various panels. Yesterday, we had discussed about participatory planning and budgeting and their challenges. Today, we are discussing about, as Srilata said, social justice, a right-based approach in local governance. As you know, Kerala is leading in empowering local governments. As far as social justice is concerned, we are setting apart plan funds more than the share of SC/ST population in our state. Around half of these funds are going to local governments. That is one of the peculiarities of our devolution of funds. In this session, we are discussing these issues and challenges in the sector of deprived classes, as well as elderly and differently abled people. We are having, we like to discuss issues relating to trans people also. As Srilata said, we are having an eminent panel. Now I invite Dr. U.P. Anil Kumar, he is Assistant Professor in GIFT, to deliver the keynote presentation.
Thank you, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, yes.
Good evening to all. Let me congratulate the organizers of this seminar, international seminar, that on the topic reimagining decentralization in Kerala. And among this theme, we are going to discuss 10 sub-themes. And among all these sub-themes, in my opinion, this session is the gem of all the sessions, because here today we are going to discuss the important topic, that social justice. Not only social justice, how we can ensure the social justice is being implemented in a right-based approach in the local governance level. I will share my presentation. So, my duty is to make set a context for presenting this topic, and eminent scholars like R. Subramanian IAS, then Professor P. Shivanandan, Dr. K. Vijayamar, Chandra Babu C, and Dr. Anil. So many Shivamar sir and so many other people are there, and they will elaborate. And in this topic, look, we have three main concepts. One is social justice. Second is right-based approach, and third is decentralized governance. How we can combine these three concepts? That is the first question. So we can combine these three concepts. First, when we combine these concepts in a conceptual level, when we are giving a conceptual linkages to these three concepts, first, social justice is our goal, and right-based approach is our means to achieve that goal. And decentralized governance provide a mechanism to achieve this right social justice. So, not only that, we can find out a linkages between these three, another two linkages too, because there is a moral and legal bridge between right, justice, and right. Justice is an abstract principle, a subjective principle. But right is not like that. Right is an enforceable entitlement. How we can bridge these two concepts, justice and rights. Not only that, then how we can connect rights with governance. That's an institutional bridge. That means merely right will not produce anything. Right should be meaningful, accessible, and accountable. How we can make these rights meaningful, accessible, and accountable, and how we can make it workable in the ground level. That means we have to develop a delivery mechanism too. And before coming to this topic, we must understand the importance of social justice in a broader level. So, in order to explain the importance of social justice, this one example is sufficient. Where India stands and where Indians stand. And Government of India declares that they are planning to make India a Viksit Bharat in 2047. That's a good thing, maybe. But where Indians stand, India is going to be the third biggest economy in the world. Now it stands in the 5th position. So, in the onset, when India is going to become the third largest economy in the world, where actually Indians stand? This question we can examine through different developmental indicators. In the Human Development Indicator shows that India is positioned in the 134th stand out of 193 countries. In the Gender Equality Index 2022, India is in the 108th position. In the World Happiness Report shows that India is in the 126th rank. Global Hunger Index says that India is in the 111th stand. So, on the one side, India is going to be the worst number 3 economic power, but the other side, people are suffering. These two reports I have taken from the Socio-Economic Caste Census and the Oxfam International Report. In the Socio-Economic Caste Census says that around 30% of the people in the rural areas of India are landless. And 13.25 families in the villages lives in kacha houses, means they don't have any walls, they don't have any proper roofs in their home, and they are living in a single room. This is the situation. And 56% of India's rural households lack agricultural land, and 36% of rural India are non-literate, and rest are 64% literate, but among that 64%, more than fifth of they have not completed the primary school. That is the condition. And contributing to this finding of socio-economic consensus, and the Oxfam International, their study, they published their studies, and they say that the 1% of the Indian holds, or more than 40% of the total national wealth. That is the condition. Even 1% of the richest people in India holds 40% of the total income. That's it. Coming to the bottom 50%, they are holding only 3%. That is the greatest wealth disparity. Even 1% handles 40% of the wealth, and the 50% of the people of the bottom strata, they own only 3%. This real-time disparities shows that social justice is a crucial element even in the modern era. We have to discuss it. We have to find out solutions for that. We have to implement that solutions too. And coming to the philosophical foundations of, or the theoretical foundations of social justice, we have so many scholars, so many leaders, they discuss about justice and social justice. Among these, I have presenting 3 viewpoints. One is Rawls' perspective. He was a pioneer and champion in the justice-based discussions. And according to him, justice is a fairness. There is a principle of equality. And this fairness should be ensured by the state, according to him. And he accepted, even though he argued for the principle of liberty and equality, he admitted the difference principle. That means inequalities are admissible. In certain cases, inequalities are admissible. When the inequalities are admissible only if it is beneficial to the poor people or least advantaged people. That is his stand. That means he gives a normative viewpoint of justice. But coming to the Amartya Sen, he criticized Rawls' perspective. He said, it is fairness, okay, but we cannot wait for the fairness given by the state. It must be linked with the real opportunities. Justice should be linked with real opportunities or justice or capabilities of the people. That means the justice should be worked within the people to develop their capacities to achieve valuable functioning in their life, such as education, health, and housing, basic amenities. In all these levels, it should work. That means when Rawls gives an normative framework, the Sen make it to more empirical, connected with context and connected with comparisons. And then coming to the Dr. Ambedkar, he is also a champion of justice in India. And he is connecting justice with democracy. According to him, justice is the very foundation of social democracy in India. And when he presented the constitution in the Indian Parliament, he said, today we are going to enter into the life of contradictions, not into a life of freedom or equality. He said, we are going to enter into a life of contradictions, because in the political field, we have equality. We have accepted the principle of one man, one vote. But in the socio-economic side, there are inequalities. And he asked a question, how long we are going to continue this kind of contradictions in our social and personal life? And he wants that if we are not addressing this and ending these contradictions as early as possible, the sufferers of these contradictions will emerge and blow up the system which this Constituent Assembly has been built up so laboriously. That means, so justice, the very idea of justice has a philosophical foundation, philosophical justification given by Rawls, and there is a development framework given by Sen, and a constitutional foundation given by Dr. Ambedkar. And coming to the Marxian viewpoint of social justice, so according to Marx, social justice is not a moral question, but it is a class question. According to him, justice is not a moral ideal, but it is a reflection of material relations and modes of production. And he said the holders of existing power and properties, they may define the justice. That means the bourgeoisie may define the justice. When bourgeoisie define the justice, they will define justice in a property dimension and in individualistic dimension. That means right to own properties. And he said we have to convert this property dimension of right into a collective rights. Collective rights are essential. So that means, according to Marx, justice is a condition of life for the abolition of exploitation. That is the important. We copied that model. We can see this model is work in our land reforms and cooperative movements, etc. And regarding the local governance too, we can make a Marxian lens, Marxian framework to see the local governance. According to Marx, he views this local governance not an administrative setup for decentralization of power. It is an opportunity or means for transferring economic and political power to the working class, to the proletariat. So in this democratic the decentralization process, they will get an opportunity to control over the local resources and production processes. Not only that, in every local government system, there may be a class dynamics too. Caste, class, gender, so many variables may work there. So in the real local governance, we should not allow the elite to capture power, but to the working class to capture and handle the power. That is also we can see in our people's campaign model. So the people from different status, from the lower level, the working class, they are handling power, not the elite group too. And coming to the right-based approach. Coming to the right-based approach, right means what? Right refers to a justified claim or an entitlement recognized and protected by society or law or the morality. So in India too, we have so many, we have developed the mechanism for right-based approach. For example, right to participation. In the Gram Sabhas, they have the right to participation. Right for social security through welfare programs. We have ensured that. Right for livelihood through employment generation programs. That means right-based approach integrated human rights with their development aspirations and against discrimination, against slavery, and against so many anti-social activities. And then, how we can see the rights-based approach in the Indian context and Kerala's experience. When we are seeing this right-based approach in the Indian context, Indian preamble of the Indian Constitution, fundamental rights, directive principles, 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendments, rights-based legislations, Article 243 and G and W, we can see the glimpses of right-based approaches in the Indian Constitution. For example, preamble. In the preamble itself, we say that we, the people of India, are going to constitute a sovereign socialist democratic republic for what? To ensure all its citizens justice, social, economic, and political. We are declaring in the preamble of the Indian Constitution. Subsequently, so many rights in the form of fundamental rights, Article 14 to 21, and then directive principle. In the directive principles, Article 38, welfare state principle, then 48, that special privilege to scheduled caste and tribes. So many are there, and not only that. Article 243 and G and W. So in the Constitution, that specifically says about social justice. Article 243 G and W says that we can use local planning for social justice, local economic planning for social justice. They are saying that. So Indian Constitution itself guarantees a right-based approach. Coming to the Kerala context, that means Indian Constitution gives a vision and to practice right-based approaches for social justice. But coming to Kerala, Kerala is a living laboratory for the right-based approach and social justice. It is not a vision or something. It's a living laboratory. So we have made so many experiments, such as decentralized governance, people's planning. Through the people's planning, we have made so many institutional mechanisms like effective Gram Sabha, social laddies, gender budgeting, women component plan, special component plan, tribal sub-plans, local economic development, the number on education and healthcare systems, welfare pensions, so many things we have done. That means Kerala is a living laboratory for the right-based approach of social justice. And now we are coming to the point. Now we are addressing the major 5 groups, how social justice is important to them. One group is, so not only these 5 groups, so many other groups are there. These the elite groups or power holding group, those who think that such social groups are unfit for social protections, we consider them as socially excluded people and they are eligible to get social rights. For example, take the scheduled caste and tribes, because still caste-based exclusion prevails and sub-plan funds, some gaps are existing for its effective use. And then weak convergence programs are there. Convergence program with local government and union and state programs. No effective convergence with land departments. So many issues are there. So scheduled caste, as far as the scheduled caste and tribes are concerned, they are in need of social right-based approach in social justice. So take the case of differently abled persons. They are still inaccessible to public infrastructure. In a KSRTC bus, there is no way to a differently abled person to enter without the help of others. And insufficient disability data-driven project. If we want to develop some data-driven projects, we don't have sufficient data among them. Limited opportunities, old age people, social isolation. They are not able to live a dignified life after 60s. In many cases, inadequate geriatric and healthcare facilities, delayed pension services. As far as the transgenders are concerned, they are still hold some social stigmas, and gender neutral facilities are lacking, and inclusive policies are not inclusive to them. And regarding the fisher folk, they are continuously vulnerable to the climate change, sea erosion, and market exploitation. It still prevails. As far as the fisher folk women is concerned, they have no adequate social protection. So many issues are there that we will discuss in detail later. Look, now we are briefly going to discuss our 30 years experience and challenges. Despite all these factors, Kerala has successfully, from 1996, we have launched the decentralized governance program, and it has so many merits. For example, we have a very good inclusive decentralized planning framework. From the bottom to upper level, we have a very good system, and that and another is effective implementation of SCP and TSP. For example, for our scheduled caste and tribal people, we have that Shivamar sir already stated that we are allocating plan funds more than their population percentage. Kerala is the only one state in India which still follows the plan, non-plan diversion and allocating plan funds in proportion to the population of the scheduled caste and tribes. And more than that, we have our own overseas scholarship schemes, commercial pilot training schemes, and tribal plus. That more than Narega, they give 100 days, and we are giving 200 days, and safe housing schemes, and apprenticeship and accredited engineer schemes. We are running MR, so many programs we are running. Not only that, for empowerment of the women, we have women component plans, and social audits are there, local fund audit, your government system is also there. And well, for social security, we are giving social security pension to more than 50 lakh persons, and we are giving institutional support to marginalized groups. And so civil society networks are so strengthened here, and improved awareness. People are more aware about their rights and entitlements, and our healthcare and education initiatives are great, and democratic deepening process are there even in the ward level itself, not in the ward level, in the booth level itself. We can make the presence of the governance. So many experiences we have. But not only that, when the good things are there, we are also facing some challenges too. So even then, some exclusions are prevails in the name of caste, class, gender. Exclusions are prevailing, and when we are utilizing fund, especially SCP, special component and tribal subplan, some ineffective and efficiency question is there, and misappropriation or underutilization, non-utilization issues are there, and then tokenism is prevailing. So right-based approach, tokenism is prevailing, then limited convergence and coordination that I already stated, and emerging inequalities and climate vulnerabilities are there. And for the data support or for the evidence-based plan formulation, we are still weak in proper creation of proper data bank. Then dependence is there, and unequal access to justice is also there. And so in some cases, remedial mechanisms are not working effectively, and some bureaucratic resistances are there. And sometimes it converts into bureaucratic feudalism. We can see in some other parts of the some other parts of Kerala, some issues are there. And within these issues, we have to go forward. And when we are going forward, so we have forward, we have to strengthen our grassroots institutions. So this kind of debates and discourses will help to spread the importance of social justice, importance of right-based approach, importance of strengthening grassroots institutions, and importance of social inclusion, etc. And we have to integrate right-based planning into local government frameworks. So now we are accepting that rights-based approach is essential, but to what extent we can incorporate right as an entitlement in the scheme formulation, implementation, and delivery system, that we have to think, and data-based local planning, capacity building, strengthening of local and institutional frameworks for local justice. So many things we have to do for the notice. So for concluding this session, and as a background setting to introduce the questions of social justice and right-based approach in the local government level, I am going to conclude it. The social justice is the soul of social decentralization. It is the soul of social democracy. It is the soul of political democracy too, because without social democracy, our political democracy cannot sustain. And social justice must move beyond welfare to transformation. So Article 30 said that we have to build a welfare state, but from the welfare state, we are moving to caring state, from the caring state, but the empowerment position is required. And then right-based approach means now people are thinking that we are getting some benefits from the government or states, that we have to convert. They are getting their share, they are getting their entitlement. This is not a benefit, it's their share. And decentralization provides the platform to redistribute and participatory governance. So Kerala is a champion and a living laboratory in this case. And not only that, in this reimagining decentralization process, we can make some lead questions also. So can social justice be achieved purely through legal entitlement, or does it require social mobilization and consciousness rising? So can we enforce right-based approach only by the force of the state, or we should wisely, intelligently cultivate the justice mentality among the people to adopt social right-based approach as their natural consciousness? And then another is how do local cultural and social norms influence the success of right-based approach in Kerala? These types of questions we can ask. We can also think ourselves, introspect ourselves about the examples from our local level, whether if we put forth the idea of social justice and a right-based approach, whether people will oppose or accept, or if oppose, what were the reasons, if accept, how we can promote it, all these things. So anyway, I appreciate the organizers of this conference, and by providing me an opportunity to introduce this theme, I am also honored. And now this floor is open for further discussion and eminent opinion, that expert opinions from the eminent scholars. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Anil. Now, our Honorable Chief Guest, Sri Subramanian, former IAS officer, former Secretary to Government of India, as well as he was a pioneer in social justice, rural development, tribal development, etc. I invite Sri Subramanian, IAS, to deliver his speech.
Thank you, Dr. Sivakumar, and all the organizers of this very impactful and a detailed seminar extending over 10 days. This is the first time I'm seeing such an extended seminar of extending to 10 days. It really shows the commitment and the intellectual prowess of the people who are organizing this. I really thank all of them. Mr. Surat Kumar, on whose name this library has been set up, must be, really a fortunate person to be remembered through such a detailed seminar. And And we are, of course, very proud of such personalities and the people who have actually taking that message forward. Friends, Kerala has been a leader in the social sector for the country and also an inspiration for many other countries for a long time. It is historical and very proudly I note that they have set up social standards which are which can be emulated by many other countries and definitely many Indian states. And also Kerala has always kept a tradition of intellectual debate and expression of opinions without fear. Today we are living in a era where expressing oneself is people are so scared to say what you want to say. Kerala fortunately has been an island of intellectual freedom, intellectual debate, and I really hope that it will continue like that. Because we need some good examples to talk about. When there is gloom everywhere, you at least have some good examples to talk about, and I'm really proud of what Kerala has done and what Kerala is doing. Friends, you chose today to discuss about the social justice. No topic will be more relevant today than discussing about social justice, because everybody wants to talk about growth rates, profits, construction of roads, 4-laners, 8-laners, expressways. Nobody wants to talk about the people who are left out of this particular growth path. I'm not saying growth path is not important. Growth path is important, and that's what takes the country forward. But you cannot have a country where some people walk far behind and the others are just running like a 100 meters dash. We cannot have a country like that. If we have a country like that, then it really shows, it paints a pathetic picture. And that picture, of course, is seen in our Gini coefficient, as you know, which really determines the inequalities in the society, is measured by what is called a Gini coefficient. All of you would know, I mean, those of you who have studied economics, social development would know that Gini coefficient, unfortunately, has been worsening since the situation was much better when we got independence, although the country was in shambles. But Gini coefficient was not as bad as today. But today we have a very unfavorable Gini coefficient, lot of concentration of wealth. Dr. Anil Kumar has done a very good presentation showing all this. So somebody needs to talk about the people who are left out of this, left out of this glitter and glamour. And there are quite a few. Although our numbers, we keep saying that poverty has become 4%, 3%, 5%. We go down to the field and see, and we see that situation is not great. Situation is not great at all in some states. Even in places like Kerala, there are people who are left out of the developmental process. So the system has to recognize that, identify them correctly, and work the way forward for these people. So that society I respect most, which cares for the least. If you are not caring for the lowest, for the least, persons who are placed least in the social and economic hierarchy, then I don't respect such society, because that's a normal sort of human tendency. You just push others and then go forward. But that is not what we expect out of a mature society. So today, talking about social justice is most relevant, and I'm I'm very happy. I read this background note which has been prepared, very well prepared. I don't know if Dr. Anil and I think the group of people who have prepared this, they've written very well. And one thing that really stands out, we need to move from a welfare approach to rights-based approach. That is actually the crux of the issue. In a welfare approach, you are giving. Okay, so you think that you have all the power. So because people have voted me to power, etc. So I give money, I give pension, I give this. So you are expecting the marginalized communities to be passive recipients. This, I think, is the bane of the approach. The rights-based approach, fortunately, recognizes the marginalized individuals as equal players in a country's economy. So therefore, everybody has got equal rights. He also has got the same right. So therefore, this rights-based approach and then focusing on this is the best thing that you have done in today's seminar. But to move from a welfare approach to a rights-based approach, where you actually recognize marginalized individuals as equals and then provide them equal rights. Having said that, friends, I'll take you back to 1985. 1985, this village name is Karamchedu. So some of you would know, people who have been associated with Dalit politics. We have guaranteed equal rights to SCs in Constitution. We have passed all acts. Every act has been passed, right? Banning untouchability and then providing equal rights, providing reservations. We have done all. Legal framework is all in place. 1985. In Karamchedu village is one of the villages in a fairly developed district of Andhra Pradesh. Just because a SC youth have had water from the pond which is reserved for water, taking of water for the upper caste, the upper caste have mutilated and killed 16 Dalit persons, and it was a massacre. It's a one-sided massacre, and then burnt all the houses. So what happened since 1950 and 1985, 35 years, we have given all constitutional safeguards, rights, everything possible we have given. But what is happening at the field level? So giving a legal right is not adequate. So what happened post Karamchedu was the Dalit politics has taken a complete different turn. They have realized that, depending on, papers, documents, legislations is not sufficient. It is necessary, but not sufficient. So they organize themselves. So that the Dalit movement has emerged out of the Karamchedu. So they organize themselves, they learn. Suddenly the enrollment of the SC children in the schools have gone up, have taken a big rise. And then the people are far more intelligent, organized, conscious about their rights. And people have worked day and night across the state to educate people about their rights and be brave to take the right which is theirs. Friends, I'm stating this Karamchedu incident only to tell you that providing a right is only a first step. It is 25% of the task. The 75% of the task depends on 5 things that will decide whether your rights-based approach will succeed or not succeed. First thing, friends, is that you need to collectivize. Especially marginalized communities, they lack that confidence to voice their right. Collectivization is one great instrument to pave that deficit. That deficit of lack of confidence can be paved by people coming together. The best example for this, of course, not in the SC context. SC context, of course, the Dalit movement has really shown the way forward for this. But your Kudumbasri has shown how the gender inequality, even in Kerala. Okay, so Kerala is supposed to be matriarchal societies. Women are supposed to be very powerful. But even there, you have a gender gap. So the Kudumbasri organization has actually helped in collectivizing women to claim their spot in the society, in the society economic hierarchy. So collectivization, friends, is the most important thing and important first step towards the rights-based approach succeeding. So who is going to do this collectivization? That's for you to discuss. In transgenders, there is a collectives which are existing, but they have a different approach. Either a guru sort of a system is there. Will that work? In case of elderly, can we collectivize them? I'll come a little bit more detail about the elderly in this task. But first step, friends, is collectivization. If you are really serious about a rights-based approach, try and get the marginalized communities into their own collectives. Okay. The second part is that collectivization is not sufficient. You have to build capacity. What does that mean? Capacity of what? Capacity of understanding their rights, capacity to organize themselves. I will just go back to your Kudumbasri example. When you have actually collectivized women into self-help group, you have built capacity of that group to act as a group. The principle of all for one, one for all, right? And then every weekly meetings, writing books, going to the bank, opening accounts. These are all capacity building. It has not come suddenly. It has not come out of the blue. Somebody has worked systematically. Somebody has worked day and night in order to make that happen. So build capacities, collectivization, building capacity. Third thing, friends, is that we need to facilitate. You have to facilitate. Let us be very clear that if you collectivized, you build capacities, okay, so it will happen automatically. No, it will not happen. You need to build, you need to facilitate this. What do you mean by facilitation? Again, I'm going back to your Kudumbasri example. Now you have built the capacities of the group, but then their ability to draw funding from the formal financial market, like the banks. That facilitation has happened because of an RBI circular. RBI circular came because states have fought for it. Kerala has fought for it. Andhra has fought for it. Tamil Nadu has fought for it. Bihar has fought for it. So RBI has brought in a circular which helped the women self-help groups, women collectives to access the funding from the financial market. So that is facilitation. Similar facilitations we can think in terms of your own local government setup. So you have a collective, you have built capacities, and you have to facilitate this by supporting, providing technical knowledge, providing hand-holding. Sometimes hand-holding needs to be very, very intense, especially if you are dealing with fishermen, you are dealing with for example Joginis in other places. You don't have a Jogini system. So we need to have a very systematic and intense hand-holding of these groups. Fourth thing, friends, is that community. I do not believe that government can do a rights-based approach. The government is actually at the receiving end in a rights-based approach, and the government has done very poorly in terms of promoting a rights-based approach. Only exception being the NREGA, MGNREGS, and that, of course, is another great story. We can talk about it subsequently. but I'm saying that we need to capacitate the community to monitor these rights and to punish the deviations from of the people who have not been able to protect the rights. And lastly, you need to provide funding. We have so many so many rights all on paper, but you have not provided funding for implementing that right. So how much money is required for implementing that right, and how much money do you have? This is a planning which your local body should. So local bodies are preparing different types of plans. Can we have a sub plan for identified marginalized communities? Can we look at their requirements? Can we look at what we can bring from our from local bodies? What should come from the formal financial system, and what should come from the government of India? What should come from the state government? This planning is very important. Without financing, you will have any number of, you can pass any number of legislations, provide any amount of rights, they will all remain on paper. So these 5 things: collectivization, capacity building, empowering communities, and then facilitation, technical facilitation, and funding. These 5 things are important, friends. Without that, you will be talking, you can talk anything, intellectually you can talk anything, but it has to get translated to the field level, to the household, to the marginalized to the marginalized person who has been struggling to exist. So having said that, I will briefly mention about the elderly. I know I have taken a lot of time, but I will primarily tell you that very important segment that you have to focus on is elderly, especially for Kerala, because you have crossed 15% of people who are aged above 60 and above. Rest of the country is somewhere around 10%, right? So you are in a different class, you are in a different league. So therefore you have to think differently. How do you prepare our entire planning process, local government, for taking care of the elders? Here again, these 5 principles will have to come in the way. That is, you have to collectivize, capacity build capacities, providing community, building community support. These 5 principles have to be applied here also. So when we were thinking about a policy for the elderly, we said 3 things. One is that it is completely incorrect to say that all elders are dependent population. There are people who can actually contribute a lot. So recognizing elderly as a resource and not as a burden is the first principle. So what is the resources that they have? They have wisdom, they have experience, they have patience, they have time. So can we use these qualities in order to provide what is called as a productive aging? That means they have to keep on contributing something. They can contribute. For example, can they collect the stories, which I think none of our youngsters know anything about our folklores or stories, local. They can sing all rhymes which mean nothing, in English language. But what are our folklore? Can we collect? Who can actually bring this down? The people who have got time, who have got experience, who know these things, only they can do. So recognize that elderly is a resource, and then plan for it. Friends, the second thing is that a lot can be done to promote innovation for the elders. When we have launched this Smart India Hackathon and asked the people to choose what is that you want to work on, many people worked on problems of the elderly. So because the problems of the elderly gives an opportunity for innovation of the youngsters, by the youngsters. So we have to promote innovation. You can't simply say that, okay, sabko pension, give pension to everybody and increase the pension to 2,000, 2,500. Now every state is competing in order to give more and more pension. I'm not saying you don't give pension. I'm saying that look at them as a resource and then innovate in order to help them to help themselves, help them to help themselves. That is the sort of an approach that we are looking at. And also very importantly, caregiver support. Friends, I think this is going to be this human resource you have to build up. You have to build up because we believe in caregiving at home. We are not looking at old age homes, which are very impersonal. So we are looking at how do you give aging at home. You should provide opportunities for the families to provide care for the elderly while they are at home. So there are many many points in this. We prepared one policy, draft policy, which is there on the website. Of course, unfortunately, it has not seen the light of the day because the government then they said that we don't want any policy, we want practice. So without policy, there cannot be practice because policy shows the way. So states like Kerala can actually come out with a policy for the elderly, which is far-reaching, which is progressive. That is what you are known for, and then which can set trend for the other states to follow. I will stop here. There is so much more to discuss as far as the elderly is concerned. I'll be happy to answer any questions, or if you connect, then we can also have a separate discussion. I'll stop here because I know this particular seminar is very important. Lots of people are here to share their views, their experiences, their expertise, and I'll be really willing to. I'll be benefited by their wisdom. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your enlightened speech. Now we have 3 more speakers. Now we have to close the seminar by 9:30. So we have to judicially use the timing. I invite Dr. P. Shivanandan, who was formerly with the CDS and he is the Honorable Fellow of the CDS. I invite Dr. Shivanandan to have the speech.
I hope it is audible. Thank you.
Yes.
I will concentrate on the issue of social justice through decentralized governance. Now, the main speaker has elaborated this aspect in detail and brought out the necessity for giving importance to the marginalized sections and how they were marginalized. And the social historical context, I'm not going to elaborate because we all know these marginalized sections for centuries. Now, I will concentrate on 2 marginalized, of course, 3 I have done. Recently, for KILA, the government asked me to make a study on 3 marginalized sections. They are the scheduled castes, the scheduled tribes, and the fisher folk. What happened to them during the last 25 years of decentralized plan? That was the topic. So I have collected data for these 3 categories. And, we have the data for the most marginalized, economically marginalized households. There is nearly about 64,000 households are in the most deprived situation. And I have taken samples from these households to find out what is their present position from the SC, ST, and the fisherfolk communities. And I have written the report and submitted to the government. It is available in the main. So that is the background. What I have found is that, especially two sections. They are socially marginalized in terms of the historical, persecution they have gone with, and the SCs and STs. And I have found during the decentralized planning period, especially, their problems were, of course, taken up at the local government level. Policies are implemented, but the mechanisms for addressing these issues, there's a lot of slackening took place. Not sufficiently given attention, or their presence were not adequately recognized, because there is not much ground for them to participate as strong as others did. Therefore, their representation, their involvement were marginal. That also is marginal. Not only that their situation, the social status marginalized, their involvement and also their share also were very marginal. So this was the experience I have, and that gives and the way forward. Also, I have collected data from them, the households, the officials, or the political leaders who were all involved in this process. I have collected their opinion also. They all find that there is very little room for them to go forward unless there is a tremendous determination from the side of the government, because they should be given opportunities. It's not that there are facilities available, but they have to utilize it. They have to partake. So this is the situation I have found, and especially the SCs and STs. They are still. Of course, when we compare their situation with other states, definitely their condition in Kerala is better in terms of literacy, in terms of all other indicators. They stand high, but within the state, they still feel marginalization at all levels of economic, social, all health-wise, education-wise, employment-wise, property-wise, all matters. They are lagging behind, and we had a lot of legislations. For instance, distribution of land. We have the first land reforms implemented in Kerala. And what happened to that? What was the situation? Why they were denied sufficient land? Because they were cultivators, agricultural work. They became agricultural laborers later. They were all cultivating the land, but they could not become cultivators on their own. They were working for others. So this was the situation. And at present also, there is not much of a change. They are in fact moving away from cultivation because they don't have land for themselves. They have to work other wage labor for their livelihood. And these are the experiences I have from the survey, and they all are lacking some facilities for their upliftment when we compare their situation with other sections of society in the state itself. But of course, Kerala stands differently, and we need to have a society which is equal, as envisioned in the constitution, which is still lacking, and we have to do a lot of other things. Therefore, I would say the decentralization has definitely helped a lot, but not sufficient. The lagging is still continuing, and there is a lot more intervention required from the government side, the administration side, and also from the common people, also political parties, all those involved in development. It needs to address this situation, this difference in attitude, and that has to be rectified. So I hope because these recommendations are there in my reports, and I don't have to elaborate it further, it's all almost the same. Same deprivation of land, deprivation of entitlement, deprivation of higher education facilities. They are all educated and literate, but that's not enough for employment or a decent livelihood. So these facilities, factors, aspects have to be taken into account, and they need to be brought into the mainstream of development. So therefore, I hope that this endeavor of the government to take cognizance of all these problems and bring them on par with others in development is a great task. And I hope the government will take note of it. And decentralization definitely has to reach to the bottom level. Not at the peripheral level only, but at the bottom level also, the decentralization. And there are a lot of technical requirements also which are there, and it has to be appreciated. Therefore, I hope that this is this opportunity to discuss about the decentralization and the right-based approach, which is going to be introduced. Will go far long in development process, and we have almost an egalitarian situation in the near future. So I am totally in agreement with the concept note which is circulated, and I hope these issues will be taken into account and sufficient attention will be given, and their participation is ensured in all aspects of development. And that is what at the moment I have to reiterate. And thank you very much for your kind invitation for me to participate in this seminar. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now I invite Dr. Vijay Kumar to deliberate upon elderly issues.
Thank you, Shivakumar. I'm honored to be here in discussing something related to the field of work in which I'm engaged now. I am really happy that my previous speakers has actually brought the right-based approach to this section, the segment of population which is actually totally neglected. And considering the limitation of the time, I'll just highlight certain rights which actually is being negated by the society at large, whether it is in Kerala or in India. The first, definitely I have to speak about the right to health and well-being. When we consider Kerala, we have got a reasonably good, strong primary healthcare infrastructure. But every one of us will realize that there is a very weak geriatric specialization. A consideration for the elderly in the societies is comparatively less. Geriatrics is not a specialty which is prestigious or fashionable to the medical profession. Now did the state understand the essentiality, now did the state understand the importance and give trust for its successful implementation and neglected. While in case of India as a whole, if you look at it, it's really interesting to see that the access itself is challenged. Kerala, we have got at least some sort of a access to primary healthcare. The other side, access itself is a real big challenge. And neither scenario, whether it is in Kerala or in India, a high out-of-pocket expenditure and poor insurance coverage. These are all important issues which actually increases the financial burden of the elderly in India and Kerala. The second important part is the right to dignified living and security. Kerala actually have got a reasonably good network of social security pension. But we should understand that the the limitation in the sense it's a very minimum that is being provided. Hardly less than 1,600 or less than 2,000 rupee only for all the elderly population that we can expect. Other than maybe the retired employees or maybe service person will be getting a reasonably good pension. Along with the paucity of adequate pension, we should actually look at something more important than that. That is the housing and home safety issues. Most of these people, in Kerala, what we usually find is that the houses will be usually left to the children and the parents will be living with them. You will find that in many places the elderly will be treated as a parasite or maybe something which can be actually disposed of. That sort of intra-familial conflicts are there in at least maybe 10 to 20% of the families in Kerala, elderly families. While in India, it's quite interesting to see that even now there is no regular pension. And even if it is there, the coverage is very poor. And the amount, of course, varies from state to state. Some give maybe as equal to Kerala, some give more, some give less. And you'll find that the extreme form of poverty in India is actually much worse than. And previously, one of the previous speakers has suggested maybe 4%, 5%. 4 or 5% here. So that's the gap between India and Kerala in that particular front. At the same time, even if it is measly Islam, we should actually have some program to address it. That's the dignified living and security. Then I'll focus on to the right to social inclusion, which actually was well stated before my discussion. We have got Kudumbashree and maybe community networks support. This actually support inclusion. You'll find that even in the remote part of Kerala, an elderly person may be linked to many different type of social organization in the sense, what do you call it? Either religious organization, temple, churches, mosque, Mahalli committee, or Karyogams, or political parties, or libraries. Some are other organizations. There's actually a part of the network that actually we can look forward to. But we should understand that there is a gender dimension. Most often, this network will be connected for the men, and the women are actually left home, and there is nobody to take care of their social inclusion and support systems. At the same time, if you look at the Indian scenario, their community structures are much weaker than that of Kerala, and organizations are very few. But it exists in a rudimentary way in many different parts of urban areas as well as some of the suburban areas. When we consider India, especially northern parts or some parts of India, we find that, say, widowed women gain. Not only widowed women, actually, when the elderly population in whom general, especially women, they will be left out, and their grievances or their rights are actually being, all rights are being denied, not only the pension or maybe financial rights or maybe the health rights or even the right to express themselves. Concerning the right to information and education, digital inclusion is one of the major things that we have to look at in the Kerala context. Again, it is important in India, but in India, when you consider 60 plus, you'll find the illiteracy rate is so high, and but still, we need to have a different type of approach to bring in literacy, especially digital literacy, considering the telephone density in India today. It is something which we have to have different approach to reach out to these sorts of people. Then right to justice and governance. Right to justice and governance means, we have got a policy. That's something positive that we have got. We have got an elderly policy. We have got a commission is there, council is there. And maybe panchayats are doing really good. But at the same time, the proportion of elderly in Kerala is around 20-22%. Most of the southern districts has got more than 20%. Maybe some of the northern districts has got less than that. What we have to find out is that the extent of money or the schemes that actually being charted out by the local governments is something like a stereotypic, not actually having an imagination. Maybe we should actually look forward to the emerging epidemics like maybe dementia, falls, loneliness, depression, sleeplessness, and all those, or maybe the CKDs, kidney failure, and all those. These sorts of issues needs to be actually discussed and debated at the state level to bring in novel programs and driven by the state, but it is lacking. While in the case of India, what we find is that the implementation gaps really huge, and maybe the Senior Citizen Act for Pan India level, it is something positive we should actually appreciate, but we don't have the efficient maybe the type of decentralized governments in India, which actually brings in a lot of a gap in the service planning and delivery. Then right to live with dignity till the end of life, palliative care or maybe hospices, respite homes, maybe the caregivers, somebody was actually mentioning about the absence of caregivers. We need to bring in some legislation as well to provide care. Everybody there, we have to bring in legislation to provide the caregivers adequately trained to provide and delivering quality service to the person in need. Similarly, the elderly care is now becoming an industry. In Kerala, you'll find that every district will have maybe at least 10 or 20 service providers, which is actually running in a industry type of, with an industry type of approach. We need to bring in some sort of a regulation over there for ensuring quality, ensuring privacy, ensuring the rights of the people over there. So these are all the basic rights the elderly population is having. Then we should actually, considering the time, I'll just cut it short. We should actually bring in some sort of an environmental modification, basically because our physical environment itself is not barrier free. We need to ensure that all public ability dictating functional ability of the person, he or she should be in a position to move around. This is the environmental and infrastructure issues that you have to think of. Now I stop because again we can discuss if time permits. So before I stop, I'll just highlight that the issues when we discuss about the justice and the rights of the people on more than 60 is the women, widowed women or even otherwise. They are the segment of population which is being actually oppressed. We don't see them. Many of them do not go out, and they are not visible also. But it is neglected. There's a high proportion of people over there which needs urgent attention from all sectors, whether in Kerala or in India. Thank you for your listening, and thank you for inviting me to this occasion. We'll discuss sometime later. Thank you. Jaykumar?
Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Vijaykumar. Now we have one more speaker, Sri Chandra Babu, who is Executive Director of NPMPR, and he will deal with the differently abled issues.
Thank you, Shivakumar. Am I audible?
Yes. You are audible.
Yeah. Shivakumar and other dignitaries and friends. This is the right opportunity to discuss the issues of person with disabilities. While we are going going to be 30 years of decentralization. Next year, in 2026, the decentralized planning program will cover 30 years. For the last 30 years, the local bodies in Kerala have done much thing for the empowerment of persons with disabilities. Well before the enactment of this Right of Persons with Disability Act in 2016. But having said this, there are a lot of issues regarding the planning and implementation of programs and development projects for persons with disabilities. The one is the lack of reliable data. The data in Kerala we already have taken in 2015. It is actually incomplete as the thing. So need to revise the data. Another things that we are implementing more a stereotype of programs and not approaching a holistic manner. There's only one uniformity is that we are providing disability pensions regularly. Apart from that, all other programs were designed and implemented for persons with disabilities is not in an organized or systematic way, addressing the real problem to solve the issues of persons with disabilities. So what are the problems? One, we have to identify all the persons having disabilities and very early age. Then only we can take measures to provide therapies or curative surgeries or other things to bring them back to mainstream life. One thing is early identification. So we need to have a much greater plan for early identification throughout Kerala. It will be done through all the local bodies. Then comes the issue of providing uniform, qualitative, therapeutic services. For that, we really lack facilities for that. We do have some bud schools, district early intervention centers, regional early intervention centers, and medical college, and of course NISH, NIPMAR, and ICONS. This is not enough. We need to have more therapy centers, preferably at least in community health centers. That's the another point I have to suggest. Then comes education for the person with disability. So there's a lack of facilities for qualitative special education. So every local body, basically the municipalities, panchayat, and must have this special education centers. I mean, all the local bodies must have but schools for special education for all the children's need special education. Another matter is that they must be trained to face life. So there's a much need for empowerment in terms of providing skill training to take up employment. So there must be, we need more skill training centers for this our person with disabilities at every age of at least mainly after schooling age, 18 plus people. Then another issue is that we don't have accessible space, accessible roads. The universal access, we must have program for providing universal accessibility in physical as well as other services. So for that, every department, every organization of the government must come together and solve this problem. Then finally, of course, at the end of the life care, as Dr. Vijaymas has said that regarding persons, aged persons and also persons with disabilities must have respect and they must be provided care for a dignified living as well as dignified death. Then my last point is that so far our emphasis is for management of disabilities only. My point is that we must have a program for prevention of disabilities. This is a issue we need to discuss a lot. So we must have some plan for prevention of disabilities. There are so many ways that must also be discussed, and we must address these issues also. Regarding this, the local bodies are the right place for convergence of services for persons with disabilities, and the local bodies should be empowered to take up such programs in a holistic manner. Thank you so much. Hello.
Hello.
Okay.
Thank you, Chandrababu. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now we are going to conclude our seminar. Since it is 9:30, we cannot go for anyone to speak. Those who can raise any views or questions, they can put it in our chat box as well as in our mail ID. Now, regarding this seminar, it was very useful and purposeful. In the beginning, Anil emphasized the need for a class review on the questions about the social justice. And in our enlightened speech, Sri Subramaniam emphasized the need for a collectivization, capacity building, facilitation, hand-holding, and community need for addressing these issues. And followed by Mr. Shivanandan, according to him, he made a very deep analysis of the marginalized people and brought out 3 books regarding the 25 years of the decentralization. And he put forward his suggestion that government attention need to be there to solve these issues. Regarding our elderly issues, Dr. Vijaykumar, he emphasized the discrimination being faced by the elderly women and the need for digital inclusion and right to live with dignity. And regarding the differently abled people, Sri Chandrababu, he emphasized the problems with the disability and universal accessibility. He emphasized the need for universal accessibility also. All speakers have brought in new ideas to our paper, and it will be deeply discussed in our concluding seminar, which will be held on by December 3rd week or 1st week of January, after the new local governments came into being. So I request Sri Vijay Nair to deliver.
Okay, sir. So may I conclude?
Please.
Yesterday's seminar is subject order.
Please.
Yesterday's seminar is localizing SDGs. So we request to participate in the next day seminar also. So thanks to all on behalf of Dr. Sudh Kumar Library and Gramina Padana Kendram and FSCT organizations. Thank you all.